You know, we live in this world that's just obsessed with youth, right? The latest trend, the next new thing. And because of that, there's this quiet feeling a lot of us get as we get older. It's this sense that we're, well, becoming a little outdated. Today, we're not just going to talk about that feeling. We are going to flip it completely on its head.
It's a heavy question, isn't it? Not feeling like society has kind of subtly put you on a shelf, like your relevance is fading with every birthday. It's a super common anxiety for sure, but what if? What if it's all based on a completely false idea? And this right here, this simple idea changes the entire conversation. See, growing older isn't about decline. It's about liberation. It's about freedom. So let's dive in and really unpack what that freedom looks like.
Okay, so first things first, we have to get into the problem. Why do so many of us start to feel, well, invisible? A huge part of it has to do with the world we're living in right now, a world that's totally driven by social media.
I mean, just think about the difference between these two eras. So many of us remember life before likes, the sound of dial-up, writing actual letters by hand. But now we're deep in life after likes, where it can feel like your worth is measured in hashtags and followers. In this new digital world, respect can feel like it's in short supply. And if you're not trending, well, it can feel like you don't even exist.
And somewhere in that big shift, all that lived experience started to get devalued. Society began treating age not as this collection of wisdom, but more like, outdated software. It's a fascinating and honestly, a kind of heartbreaking change when you think about it.
But this whole idea, this devaluing of age, it doesn't just stay online. Oh no. It's led to this really frustrating set of unwritten, and sometimes very written, rules about how people over 50 are supposed to act, how they should dress, and how they should live.
I mean, can you believe this? This is a real headline. The person who wrote the source material for this explainer said she nearly choked on her coffee when she saw it. Seriously, if anyone has earned the right to wear a comfy pair of jeans, it's the generation that made them popular to begin with.
And oh, it doesn't stop there. Of course not. The internet is just flooded with this kind of unsolicited advice. All of a sudden, there are rules about your hair, as if your hair follicles know what age you are and are supposed to behave differently.
And then there's the makeup, because apparently you can get it wrong. Just notice the tone there. It's so condescending. It's not about helpful tips. It's about avoiding mistakes.
The list just goes on and on. And the real irony is that these articles are so often written by people in their 20s who have absolutely zero life mileage but think they have all the authority in the world.
Exactly. This question just cuts right through all of it. Who gets to decide these totally random rules? It's a frustration we all share, this feeling of being told how to live your life by people who haven't even lived half of it.
And this is the comeback. This is the turning point. This is that moment of defiance where you go from feeling frustrated to feeling empowered. It's about taking back your own authority over your life, your style, your choices.
Which brings us to the really good part, the solution. It's time to stop focusing on what society gets wrong and start talking about what getting older gets so right. This is where we see age go from being seen as a liability to becoming a genuine superpower. Here's the beautiful paradox. That invisibility cloak we were talking about earlier, it can actually be incredibly liberating. When that spotlight moves away from you, you stop performing for everyone else and you finally start living for yourself. It's a sense of peace that doesn't come from giving up, but from finally getting what actually matters. So let's just reclaim that word, older. It is not an ending, it's an accomplishment. Just look at these words: seasoned, textured, beautifully human. This isn't about decay. This is about depth. It's about richness. And it's about all the stories that make us who we are. So what does this freedom actually look like in practice? The source calls it the midlife renaissance. You just stop chasing every shiny new trend. You care so much less about what other people think. And you start living with intention, really savoring the things that bring you genuine joy. It's almost like a second adolescence, only this time you actually know who you are. And that's really what it all comes down to. Real confidence, it isn't something you can buy or filter or fake. It's earned. It's the result of surviving tough times, learning lessons, and building a life. You're not a copy from a social media post. You're an original. Okay, but this isn't just a nice philosophy, right? It's a way of life. So let's look at how this freedom actually translates into real-world action, with some amazing stories about people who just refuse to fade away quietly. So get this. This quote is from a story about an 80-year-old man who packed up and moved to Hungary to live out his dream. Some people online criticized him, asking things like, what was he thinking at his age? Well, this is what he was thinking. He was thinking that our dreams do not have an expiration date.
And I absolutely love this one. This was the sassy response from an 85-year-old grandmother in a care home. Someone asked her why she wasn't joining the other residents for coffee, and that's what she said. She was fiery, she was wonderfully alive. Her spirit hadn't aged a single day.
And that's the profound truth that both of those stories teach us. Yeah, your body might age, but the very essence of who you are, your spark, your spirit, that doesn't have to. The difference between a 40-year-old who acts ancient and a 90-year-old who still dances, it's all right there. It's in the spirit.
So we land on this really simple but powerful call to action. Just forget all the nonsense rules. Wear the jeans. Move to another country if that's what your heart is telling you to do. Paint your walls bright pink. Live your story your way. Growing old is a privilege that's denied to so many. It's meant to be celebrated.
And so, I'll leave you with this. This isn't just a rhetorical question. It's an invitation. Because whether you're 25 or 55 or 85, this freedom is yours for the taking. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it?